Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Praise the Lord, we are finally at the end of our journey investigating Farmina. We are going to finish it up today by reviewing the Farmina NND pumpkin. And so if that's what you came to learn about today, hang on and we're gonna get started. So praise the Lord, yes, we have finally come to the end of this journey. It has been a very long journey. We have gone through every single one of the canine over-the-counter formulas by Farmina, and we're gonna be wrapping it up today with the pumpkin line. But before we get started, a couple housekeeping things. Number one, thank you everybody that has been on this journey with me, not just through the Farmina series, but through the entire YouTube journey. I really appreciate it. We are up to over 8,000 subscribers, and that's just awesome. I never expected this platform to go that far. So thank you. If you are new, welcome. Maybe you can join our little nutrition nation, our little nutrition army that we have going on. We talk about other things as well. So, you know, anything pet related, educational related, I like to bring you guys some good factual, up-to-date information and the resources that back that up so that you can kind of feel confident in your decisions for everything related to your pet. And so that's one thing. As far as questions go, I do get a lot of them and I do appreciate them and I do enjoy looking through them, but there are a lot of them and that's fine. But if you want an answer maybe quicker, I would suggest that you check out the playlist. So they're divided into various assortments there. So we've got the Farmina series, of course, that's what we've been talking about, that we've got products, companies will bring products to me, we'll do reviews on those and I'll share them with you. We have puppy foods, cat foods, commonly asked questions, a foundationals playlist. So if you're new to pet nutrition, definitely suggest that you check out that foundationals playlist because some of the groundwork was laid there. So check out the playlist if you have a question, because a lot of times I will just direct you to a video that I've already filmed that answers your question. Other things I get like questions about what's a good food, what's a good food. I don't necessarily make recommendations. I help you guys work through the food because what's good for the individual is going to be different. And so I give you guys the information, I give you the tools to help determine what is going to be the best for your individual situation. With that in mind, I realize not everybody wants to watch the 150 odd videos that we have filmed right now. And so if you want just a quick and dirty way to see what foods have scored well, you can just go over to my Amazon playlist. I don't know, or Amazon storefront. I don't know if you guys know that I have that. I don't really publicize it a lot. It is in the description box, but any food that scores 7, 8, 9, or 10, I do go ahead and put in that playlist along with some other products and things that I do recommend my patients, because a lot of people ask me, what do you recommend for XYZ? What have you used? All that stuff is in the Amazon storefront. So you can just click on it and it'll take you there, just be a list that you can see things, really easily. Last thing, questions I've been getting asked for is, you'll notice on some of my videos now, they'll say members first, or you'll see it if you go to the channel page, there's a section for members. You can become a member if you want. It's certainly not required. It is totally free to subscribe to the channel and get the videos. I started the membership because YouTube gave me the option to go ahead and release videos early. So I have a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, do you have a video about, for example, Stella and Chewy? And the answer is, yes, I do. I filmed it. I'm in the process of editing it. I will batch, film, and edit a lot of the videos, and then I will upload them in blocks. So I'll be, a couple weeks in advance, because with my work schedule, I am a practicing veterinarian. I never know. Sometimes weeks are really busy. Sometimes I have to stay late. Sometimes I have inpatients. And so I try to film the videos when I have time, and then I upload them all at once, and I release them once a week. But some people, and I totally appreciate it, it makes me smile, can't wait to get a certain video, or can't wait for that once a week video to release. And so the memberships have allowed me to go ahead and post those videos, and so the members will get those videos first, not on the 1 week schedule. They'll get the whole catalog as I as I upload them. Everybody will eventually get the videos. There are no special videos right now that are only for members. Maybe one day that will happen and I'll be able to dedicate more time, but for right now, all the videos will eventually be available. But if you just can't wait to see that video, you can do it. I think I selected like the lowest monetary tiers are one of the lowest monetary tiers that allow me to do that. So you can check out the membership function and support the channel that way as well. So now we are actually going to get into the pumpkin. It is the last of the Farmina, and I will be honest, I'm kind of tired of doing Farmina, so I'm glad that we are going to be finished. And then we'll do a wrap it up video here in hopefully the next few weeks. And then I also have a ginormous everything cat, and I've just done, or I'm going to film just one large video on the cat because it's just, I cannot do this for another 2 months. So here we go, we're jumping into it. You can follow along by going to farmina.com, selecting dog food, and then selecting the NND pumpkin. Now, because we've done this, I have this lovely chart, and I've already filled out some of the things that are going to be consistently true, just so that we can make this video as speedy as possible, because you guys watch this video once, I watch this video over and over and over and over again as I edit, and so I want to make it quick and speedy today. So across the top is going to be the foods, down the sides are going to be the parameters. We're going to score them against the Dr. Ace Pet Food Scoring System. If you are not familiar with that, you're going to have to watch some of the earlier videos. It's a scoring system. It's information that we systemically judge foods on every single time, very methodically, and so we don't give bias to one food versus the other. They're all judged the same across the board: wet, dry, semi-moist, high price point, low price point, fresh, homemade, subscription, all of them. They're all judged equally. And so, you know, we don't have some of those marketing things that are designed and very effective at obscuring and skewing our decision, because that is where people get confused. They get confused because the marketing companies confuse them on purpose and try to emotionally drive them in a certain direction, because that's, you know, that's their job. And so we want to avoid that. I will point out some of the marketing things as we go along, but all in all, the score is going to be based on hard, factual, concrete information. So that's the pet food scoring system. It's on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest. If it scores a 7, 8, 9, or 10, that is usually a very good place to start your investigation. If it scores under a 7, there are probably some better options, at least to start your search on. So that's the idea there. So in the NND pumpkin line, I did count them, because again, I was like, how many of these are we going to do today? Wow, wow, wow. But I did promise you we would do this, so I'm going to keep up my promise. And I believe there are 8. There are 8 in the line, the canine line. So we are just going to forge through today. All right, so scrolling down. The first 2 are going to be puppy. The first one is the chicken pumpkin and pomegranate starter puppy. And then there's going to be the mini puppy. They're exactly the same. The only difference is the bag size, I believe. So 5.5 pound is the starter. And then on the mini, you can get the 5.5 that goes up to the 15.4. So that's the difference there. And we're going to go ahead. Let's just click on one and bring up the nutrient profile. Now, like I said, there are some of the chart is already filled in, because we know these across the board are going to be the case. So none of the Farmina foods have been feeding child. The pumpkin line is across the board a grain-free line. And then none of these diets are raw. So that's already filled in the chart. The moisture level across the board is 9%. And we'll see that when we get down to the guaranteed analysis. So starting out with the AAFCO statement, this very first one was formulated, just talked about that, to meet the established levels by AAFCO for all life stages, including the growth of large-sized dogs. So this is a large breed puppy formulation. Even though the bag says mini, the legal statement is suggesting or indicating that this food legally is meant or legally is substantiated for large breed puppies. So they are going to lose a point there because it says mini, but this is for a large breed puppy. So that's the first parameter. Okay, so moving right along, we get into the ingredient list. We already talked about this is grain-free, so you're going to lose a point there. Not my favorite. I've harped on this on many videos. I'm not going to continue to harp on this. Grain-free is not my favorite. There's some research out there. It brings concern to me. I don't want to risk it, and so I do not recommend grain-free, especially when there are some other diets in this line that are very good, that are grain inclusive. There's really no reason to feed a grain-free diet, at least right now with the current investigation that is going on. Whether you believe it or not, it is still circulating, and if there is that little ounce of doubt and there is no benefit, it tips the scales for me to avoid it. And so, you know, all in all, this is probably not gonna be my favorite, but we are gonna still go through it because it may, you know, someone else's calculus may be different. It's chicken, dehydrated chicken, pea starch, chicken fat. We've got some herring in there, and so that's an important designation. We've talked about that before. Just because it says it is a chicken and pomegranate does not mean that it is all chicken and pomegranate. It just means that it needs to be about 25% chicken and pomegranate in there because of the name indicating that it is a recipe. All right, so there you go. So there is some herring in there. Only 25% is going to be the chicken, dehydrated chicken. That was my refrigerator. I think it's dying, so I do apologize. We're filming inside the house today because it is pouring rain outside. It may do that periodically. Okay, so that's the ingredient list. We're not gonna spend very much time here. We've gone over it. It's very similar to literally every single one of the other Farmina foods that we have done. We've been checking out the vitamin E level. We found that the tropical line had pretty wimpy vitamin E at 150. Every other line has had the vitamin E up at 600, as does the pumpkin. Now we get into the analysis. So let's go ahead and bring up our puppy chart. This chart comes from Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, as always. Feel free to peruse the chapter there. I did update these charts recently, so I included a couple more parameters. You may see that, notice that if you've been with me for a while, I updated it with the new updated information from the, I think it's the 5th edition of Small Animal Clinical Nutrition versus my old school, which was the previous edition. So here is the puppy chart. Ideally for puppies, we want protein between 22 and 35. So I'm gonna get my little scorecard here. For you that are following along at home, you can use this scorecard. All right, so 1 point for the protein being correct. The fat is also gonna be correct for the puppy. Fiber is a give me on the puppy. They don't really list in Clinical Nutrition optimal fiber. I usually just say if it's less than 5, you're good. So they are gonna be there at the 2.5%. Again, the moisture is 9 across the board. And then we get into the minerals. We would ideally want our calcium between 0.7 and 1.7, and this is coming in at 1.1, so we're going to get a point there. And then the phosphorus we want no higher than 1.3, and we're at 0.91, so we are going to get a point there. So they are getting all 5 points for the guaranteed analysis, which is, you know, which is awesome. It is something that I look for, the guaranteed analysis. I know this is not like a weighted, but the guaranteed analysis, just because you do get 5 points, it is kind of somewhat weighted in the pet food scoring system, as I think it should be. And so let's see where we're at with the points. And now for those of you that are new, you see how the game is played. We're gonna, and I say this every single time, but it always ends up being, I interject more stuff, but it's going to be fast going through. I do need to fill in the kcal per cup. So here we are at 416. In the past, for some reason, Farmina has not really been, the feeding guide has not really been quite accurate. Someone pointed out that they thought that maybe the feeding guide was based on the weight of the puppy that they are versus the weight that they are going to be, but that doesn't really make, see, it says projected weight at maturity. And so that's a little bit different, a different way to do it. That's a little bit different. And so if we do it based on the projected weight at maturity, that doesn't really factor into the resting energy requirement calculations. And so this is going to be a little bit off, I think. So for example, let's go down here to 6 months. It's really low. So I'm not 100% sure how they're calculating the resting energy requirement, and I'm not going to give them the point, and it may be misguided not to do that, but that's my understanding of how almost every other food we've evaluated has done it. But if you work for Farmina and you would like to clarify that, I'd be happy to post a pin to clarify that information. But I can't give them a point for the feeding guide as I understand it because it is not correct. We said the main ingredient was chicken, so we're gonna put that there. And then as we fill in this, we will calculate the total number of points. I will say, as far as the members go, they do get all the videos. I do post some extra stuff there as far as community posts. Like for example, I do provide them like images of some of my charts and things like that. So if that's something that you're interested, that is available to the members. I do post a couple little extra things on the community tab with some charts and graphics that I work on. So they do actually get access to that as well as a thank you for being a member and supporting the channel. The overall score, let's see. So we said no on the K-Cows, we're not gonna give them that, and they did not get the life stage. They did not get a point on the feeding trial, so unfortunately we're already down 3. We're down 4 because it is not grain-free, but we are gonna get the next 5 points for the guaranteed analysis, plus 1 point for not being raw. So it's only gonna bring that up to 6 out of 10, which, you know, to me, I do like that the guaranteed analysis is there, but again, like for example, that grain-free is a big thing for me. So without that point, it is going to drop them below that 7. So you can see how kind of that works and why I designed it like that. The next food on this list, we're going to skip over the starter pack, and we're going to skip over the other puppy size kibble versions of the same thing because the nutrients are the same. It's just the kibble size that is different. So we're going to skip over those. We're going to move on to the lamb and blueberry. So up here, we're going to type in lamb. We talked about how this is going to be, again, large breed puppy. Typical, you know, same thing, typical than the lamb, the dehydrated lamb, the pea starch they follow. They're very, very, very similar for every single one of their formulations, which is, you know, it makes sense. If a company finds a formulation that they like, I like that they just stick with it, keeping things simple. When we get creative, I think is when things start to happen. And that's true even in my everyday practice. For example, like with anesthesia. I feel very comfortable with my anesthetic agents that I have available to me. There's a process and a very similar way that everything is done. Yes, the anesthesia is tailored to every individual patient, but the process and the philosophy behind it is the same. When people start asking me to deviate from that process, that's when I feel uncomfortable, and a lot of times I may decline to do the procedure because it's in that consistency that we are most successful. Once you find something that works, the consistency is really part of the safety process. And so I like that they have found this formula. They feel confident with it. They feel confident that they can perform at this level every single time. And I really do value that in this company. You will see that across the board where they have kind of deviated from that and got a little bit of creativity in there, that creativity, in my opinion, has not served them well. So that's the ingredient list here. Refrigerator is revolting again. We've got that vitamin E, again, is going to be up there at the 600. We like that. And now we're going to go into the guaranteed analysis. This guaranteed analysis is going to be very similar, if not actually completely the same. It is completely the same as the chicken. So we're just going to copy and paste this. Copy and paste. Completely the same. Almost completely the same, slightly off on the kcals per cup by 2 calories. So also gonna score a 6 out of 10. All right, next on the list, we're gonna get into the chicken adult. So this chicken, pumpkin, and pomegranate recipe again is formulated, but it is formulated for adults, so that is correct. That is what we want to see. Not gonna spend much time here on the ingredient list. Chicken, dehydrated chicken, you can see very, very, very consistent. The herring is in there. They found that for whatever reason brings them to the nutrient profile that they want at the price point that they want, and they're sticking with it, and I don't have a problem with that. Vitamin E up there at 600, very consistent there. And now let's get into the nutrient parameters. So 30 on the protein, 18 on the fat, fiber 2.9, calcium 0.9, phosphorus 0.8, and kcals 399. So again, this is an adult, it's gonna be a little bit lower in calorie than the puppy. Let's check the feeding guide for this really quick. They're saying 2.75 cups, 1.6 cups for the 22-pound dog. That's gonna be correct. Yeah, there's something off about the puppy, and I do agree. It's just something that I'm not interpreting exactly the same. But if you're gonna be different than every other pet food company out there, I feel like, you know, that should be highlighted or something. I don't know, maybe I'm just being overly judgmental, but overall the food score is really good. So I don't know that it is even of any consequence in the analysis, honestly, on these. Let's pull up the adult chart, and again, this is going to be kind of a new and improved because I've done a little bit of edits on it to fill in some additional information and be a little bit more complete, so it may look different than the others that we've used before. Now let's score it here. So 1 on the chicken, 2 correct life stage, then no, 3 because it's not raw, yes on the protein, 4, fat, yes on the fat, 5, 6, yes on the fiber, 7, yes on the calcium, 8, yes on the phosphorus. So 8 out of 10, right? Yep, 8 out of 10. Very consistent with what Farmina has produced overall as we're wrapping up this series. The next is going to be the adult in the blueberry, the lamb and blueberry. Yes, it is adult maintenance. The same setup for the ingredients. Same vitamin E at 600. And then we get into the nutrient analysis. It's a little bit different. So we're going to have 28 for the protein. So a little bit lower protein, but still I do actually really like that 28. I think that that's a good number. 18, keeping the fat the same. Fiber at 2.9. Calcium 1.1, phosphorus 0.8, and feeding guide 393, which is also going to be good because it's going to be that same chart. So let's fill in lamb there, which is going to make this exactly, it's going to score exactly the same 8 out of 10. All right. The next, I believe, is the 4. So again, maintenance, correct. Ingredient list, as always, is 600 on the vitamin E. Let's go ahead. So we're back up to the 30 on the protein, 18 consistently on the fat, fiber at 2.9, calcium 0.9, so a little bit lower than the lamb on the calcium, and phosphorus 0.7. Now I'm actually noticing I gave them a point on the calcium on the lamb. Did I misread that? Because that is actually going to be, that's going to be over. I might have to downgrade. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Speeding through too quickly. Yeah, actually we're gonna have to downgrade that lamb to a 7 out of 10. They're gonna lose it on the calcium, but this one's an 8 out of 10 because they have their calcium at 0.9. Okay, Next is going to be the duck or the quail, which is the one that's next. The duck there checks out. It is for adult, so adult maintenance. You got the ingredient list. Feel free to dive into that a little bit deeper, but we're going to move along. Vitamin E at 600, been very consistent. Protein 30, fat 18, moisture at 9, calcium at 0.9, fiber 2.9, phosphorus 0.8, which is going to bring this to be an 8 out of 10 as well. I think the next one is the quail, and then we'll wrap it up with the venison. So yes, on the adult, you have your quail, dehydrated quail, exact same. Broken record, 600 on the vitamin E, okay. 30 on the protein, 18, 2.9 on the fiber, 0.9 on the calcium, 0.8 on the phosphorus, which is going to bring it up to an 8 out of 10. just like the others. Kcals on this at $3.98. The last one is gonna be the venison. All right, venison. Again, formulated for adults, which is what we wanna see. Ingredient list, you guessed it, venison, dehydrated venison, sweet potatoes, chicken fat, dried pumpkin. It is kind of nice to see the pumpkin up here because some of the other formulas, when they had their ingredients, their called out ingredients, they were really far. They were like in the 13, 14, 15 range. We do have the pomegranate way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's pretty far down. Let's get down to the nutrients. Vitamin E, we know that's 600 there. 393 on the Kcal, so let's fill that in and get to the nutrients. So proteins back down to 28 on this guy, fat 18, 2.9 on the fiber, calcium 1.1, so we're going to be over there with the venison on what we want to see for the fiber. Phosphorus at 0.8, so this is going to be back down to a 7 out of 10. There she is. Give her a minute. All right, so 7 out of 10. And so, is there anything special about pumpkin? No, there's not. Does this food outperform, did the N&D pumpkin outperform some of the other Farmina N&D varieties? No, it didn't actually. It's gonna be middle of the pack, I think. So next week, praise the Lord, we are done. We are done with this. Next week, our next video, or however, when we rebroach this subject, we're gonna do a total analysis of all of them, and I'm thinking if I can swing it, I want to do it as a live where we kind of chat about it. And so definitely subscribe, ring the bell, set your notifications, because if we do that and you guys want to participate, you got to have your notifications on and be subscribed so that you know when the live is going to happen. So that was the N&D pumpkin. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I knew it was good. I said I was going to keep it short, and it ended up being, you know, whatever this is, 40 minutes, but I hope there's some good nuggets of information and that you guys will hang out with me again, and we will discuss more fun food facts and other products and other things, pet and veterinary. So yeah, I enjoy our purse days together, and I hope to see you guys again next Thursday. Bye.